All right, everyone, how we doing? Good afternoon. Well, it's 11:59. I've started early. You're welcome. How we doing, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Turn down that audio a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's good, people. Hello, MJ, Darcy. Welcome to the post-race Monday afternoon catch-up on the Brazilian Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It should be fun, Sword. It should, mate. We have got a lot to talk about. You just downloaded Windows 11 this morning. I still haven't done that. I'm not sure if I will anytime soon, but we'll see. McLaren Audi, indeed. Reports, if you're going to believe the reports, Audi want to purchase McLaren. Doesn't necessarily mean going to, like, a lot of companies own other companies. You know what I mean? Like, Audi is owned by Volkswagen. So how's that work? I don't know. But anyway, welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing well. Hello, Miguel, Charles, Elena, Saracen, Julian, Jonathan, Advit, Simeon, Finley, Devi, Richard, Xiaosong, Abhishek, Barrett, good to see you, mate. Ethan, Loopy, MJ, Arvin, Fee. Oh, my hands are really cold. When it gets into the winter, I get really cold feet and really cold hands. So you don't have good circulation to my extremities. So I've got very cold hands. Cold hands, warm heart. Just saying. Just saying. But yeah, how we doing? Welcome. Right, shall we get into it? Shall we start with our race rating out of 10? What are we saying? You can use decimal places if you want to. I do. And I do have a haircut. I just can't be asked to put wax in my hair today. All right, now. 7, 8, 9, 6.5, 8, 8.5, 7.5, 9, 10. A few tens. Very generous. Obviously, Lewis fans. We'll talk about Lewis's drive, of course, as we go. Thank you, Nikita Gariskin, for the $5, mate. Best race in terms of pure racing in 2021. It's my first year, and I'm amazed at everything that's happening. You've picked a good first year to join, Nikita. I tell you, you have. But yeah, we'll get into the racing. Don't you worry. We've got plenty of time. For me, I've given it a 7.5 out of 10. Very good. 7.5 is a good rating, okay? 75% of 100. I think that's fair. I think all things considered, we obviously had Lewis coming through the field. We had a few battles in the midfield. But at the same time, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't the most, compared to some of the races this year that have just been jam-packed from start to finish. See, like, I can't win. Some people are like, I'm generous. Some people are like, well, I'm sorry, okay? Brazil 2019 was more dramatic, for sure. But yeah, there was a lot of overtakes missed, to be fair, Yo-Yo, on the coverage. Look, I watched the race. I can only go from the coverage that I've seen. Thank you, Akanch, for the 100 rupees, mate. I think it was karma from Sonoda for the treatment he received from Red Bull last week at Mexico. Both SC and VSC were caused due to his collision. Yeah. Well, yeah, his collision with Stroll, did didn't exactly help some people in terms of the VSC. But thank you again. Don't worry, we'll get on to everything. I want to go in order. I want to talk through things, okay? And thank you, my 2 cents, for the 200 rupees. Is Max a dirty racer? Now it has proved on multiple occasions he's racing with Hamilton, Leclerc, etc. I know what side of the fence you sit on, my 2 cents. We'll get onto that. We will get onto that. Hello, Will. Good to see you, mate. What a night indeed. Thank you, John, as well, for the $8.99 New Zealand. Love a bit of Kiwi, mate. But yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into it. 7.5 out of 10 for me, race rating. But what about driver of the weekend, struggle of the weekend, team of the weekend? For me, driver of the weekend was easy. Team of the weekend, pretty easy. Struggle of the weekend. Oh no, we'll do that in a bit. These are the results. Here are my actual. I forgot I have the results come up before. These are the results anyway. But yeah, I said Lewis driver of the weekend. I've said Stroll struggle, and I've said Mercedes team of the weekend. Team should be Ferrari. Mercedes kind of messed up. Well, I mean, did they? I don't know if. I don't know. For me, watching the race, I couldn't see a way that Mercedes would have strategically been able to get past the Red Bull through the pit stops. But now we've got 2 big incidents to talk about from this race, and I think I've got a very strong opinion on both. Okay, so get ready. But yeah, Lewis drive of the weekend, phenomenal drive. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people will try and reach, but his car's 50,000 times quicker than everyone else's. Like, yes, he's got a new ice. Yes, his package is the best package, but you look at the I'm sorry, you can't just wave that stick. It's like, you know what, it was it the same in Austria with Max? Like, he's got by far the best car, did not deserved. Like, you heard the same stuff around Austria when Max won 3 on the bounce, and loads of people were like, title race is over, and we're in the same here. They were great drives by Max in Austria, and it was an absolute top tier drive from Lewis this weekend. You cannot take that away from him. You just can't. Thank you, Jerome, for the $6.99 Canadian. Imo, it was an amazing race and certainly the most high stakes one. Incredible masterclass from Sir Lewis. It was a very good race. 7.5 isn't a bad rating. Okay, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Thank you, Brat, as well, for the 100 rupees. Mate, you can't be serious. I watched Backseat Driver. I can't get over this race being 7.5. Look, I'm taking the whole. I'm not just looking at the front. I'm taking the whole race. Like, look, in terms of battles in the midfield and all that, there wasn't as many as we have seen at other races, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, a 10 out of 10 is like drama at the front, like battles going on left, right, and centre at the middle, last lap overtakes. You know what I mean? Like that's a 10 has everything. Or Esteban Ocon winning. I gave that 10 because that was vibes. Thank you, S. Featley, mate, as well. Appreciate it, mate, for the tenner. Hamilton winning despite having 2 pens was worthy of the man Senna and how he won his first Brazilian Grand Prix. He overtook every driver this weekend. Max broke too late, knowing if he hits Lewis, it's his title. Interesting. So you think Max put himself... Okay, we'll discuss that. Don't worry. Stop jump in the gun, everyone, all right? We'll talk about it, okay? There's plenty of time for that. I'm not going to rush through, okay? Oh, yeah, and Lewis got a penalty for taking his... he got a fine, didn't he? For taking his thing off. Anyway, right, so that's my struggle of the weekend. Lance went out in Q1 on Friday. recovered a bit in the sprint race, and then in the actual race, he had a coming together with Yuki, and his car ended up having to DNF in the end. I would say that's the most significant struggle. And we'll talk about the Stroll Tsunoda incident, because let's just say I thoroughly disagree with what most people are saying on it. And we will go through it. And then team of the weekend, Mercedes, obviously, new ice, gave Lewis the car where he could just deliver that incredible result when driver and machine in perfect balance, and Lewis didn't put a foot wrong this weekend, and Mercedes deserve credit for that as well. Russell got up to 13th. Latifi was 16th, so I don't think you can call Russell a struggle. I know he got beaten in qualifying by Latifi, and is about bloody time. But anyway, as for your winners, they are as follows. 94% of the vote goes to Lewis Hamilton for driver of the weekend, and rightly so. 2% Verstappen, 1% Leclerc. Struggle of the weekend, Yuki took it with 31%, which I understand as the run-in. Only got into Q2 in quali, finished like 15th on track, got his 10-second penalty. Stroll was up there as well. In terms of percentage, though. Oh, I've clicked on a different screen. Well done, Tommo. Smashed it, mate. Smashed it. Oh my god, what? I've done it again. What am I doing? Right, there we go. Yeah, 25% Stroll, 17% Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo had to retire in the end, which was pretty sad, considering he was having a decent race. Bad day for McLaren. Another bad weekend for McLaren. Once again, only 1 point scored for the second weekend in a row. Because literally, Lando finished 10th in both races. Although Lando had to come from the back in both races as well, which is pretty impressive. But yeah. Thank you, John, again, for another $8.99, mate. Appreciate it. We may support different drivers, but it shouldn't be the reason to hate each other, right? Exactly. Yeah, but people just tribal, and it's just stupid. Like, come on. Just if you're one of these tribal Hamilton or Verstappen or Leclerc or Kvyat or Albon fans, right? Super tribal. Just go outside and touch grass, okay? Please, I beg. Thank you again, S. Fleetly, as well, for the £2. Max is on board, lost, yet Lewis at Britain's... Well, no, it needs to be downloaded. I don't think it's lost. I think they can download it from the car, right? Max is on board. That's my understanding. You get the camera feeds that come through live, and the TV director can click between feeds, but then if that feed isn't shown, then it needs to be downloaded after the fact, which takes time. But I don't know. That's what I think. Struggle of the weekend, Tommo. That sounds about right. And then, yeah, 55% Mercedes, team of the weekend, 30-something% Ferrari, and a little vote for Alpine as well. Credit to Alpine, both cars in the points. As much as Gasly finished ahead of Ocon, that gap is still 0 points between Alpine and AlphaTauri. So, decent. Why is it taking... Look, I don't know. This is just what I've heard from people who, I feel understand this stuff better than me. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But anyway. And then also, my fantasy league. almost amazing. Obviously, I picked this week to give Max Mega Driver, and he didn't win. So, but he still got 183 points somehow. Perez Turbo 72. Tsunoda, I was hopeful, and then he oh no, it was so sad. He still got a point, at least no minus points. But yeah, Gasly delivered good points. Ferrari, good. All in all, pretty good. Yuki cost Perez a point. I mean, it's a bit harsh putting that on Yuki. Like, it's a bit of debris that they had a VSC and then Bottas could just pit. I mean, technically, it wouldn't have necessarily happened. I do think we were kind of robbed of a bit of a Perez-Bottas battle, to be fair. That would have been good to see. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got 361 points. So that puts me, because I've used my Mega Driver now, so now I'm back in the good percentage. But yeah. Anyway, back to, thank you Jeff Cott, mate, for the £5. For all those moaning about the Verstappen Hamilton incident, I'm glad the stewards turned a blind eye to it. Is what we want to see on track. Interesting. Right. Okay. What should we? All right. So, first corner. Let's get the old polls out. Right. Let's get the old YouTube polls out. Okay. First corner. Right. We're gonna say. Who was at fault? Who's more at fault? I'm not scared to give my real view chosen one, trust me. I'm just taking my time. Okay? These things don't need to be rushed. I will not be nerfing my opinions, I assure you. Right. So, lap 1, first corner, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Carlando. The relationship is over. It seems. Who's more at fault? Who do you think was more at fault? Out of the two. Thank you, Nikita, as well, for joining Friends of Tommo. Appreciate that, mate. I just realised my head was I was just sitting here, like, massive head in the thing. There we go. Who is more at fault? Okay. I'm not asking people to say it's one or the other. Just more at fault. Okay. We've got 587 votes and it's 75% are saying Lando. Well done, everyone. You got it right. Yeah, look, I think Lando, you know, he got the move done and then he just moved to the left whilst Carlos was still there. And Lando didn't need to. He didn't need to move as quickly and aggressively over. And he paid a big price for it. Which was a shame because he was on for, you know, battling with Perez into that first corner because he got such a good start. He like what again? Watch the replay. Actually, you know what? Shall we? I don't want to get. I'm very aware of getting FOM banned if I show any footage. But I do want to try and Norris, Science. Is there a video? I mean, it'll be in the full race highlights, but I don't want to hang on a sec. Because there's like 3 significant incidents that deserve. I can show stills, can't I? Right, I want to find. Okay. Let's do it like this, right? Give me a sec, chat. Sorry everyone, but we're taking our time today. You know, we're not rushing through all these incidents. Okay. We're not rushing through anything today. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go screen share. Hello, I'm now up here. And let's go onto there we go. Beautiful. Right. As long as I just show stills, all should be fine. Okay. Now, obviously, I mean, there is Lando does not need to move over as soon as he does. There is room for Carlos here, granted, but at the same time, like, Carlos, like Lando has enough space here because you can. I know it's not ideal to drive on this, but also like off track means off track. You know what I mean? It means like all four wheels off track. Like if you've got two wheels off the track and two wheels on it, your class is on track. Yeah, Carlos definitely didn't get squeezed. That is true. But yeah, Lando kind of moves across. I don't think he needs to. And it's one of them where I think like I can't see Carlos. If Carlos does that again, I don't feel like he'd do anything differently. Whereas I feel like Lando probably realised like he didn't need to move over as quickly as I can. Can I just go frame by frame with the right button? No, it just jumps by like 5 seconds but yeah, can't really go frame by frame on this. So yeah, I think it's one of them where I think Lando's more at fault. It's a shame that the outcome. Use dot and. Oh, that. What does that? Can I go frame by frame with that? Oh, I can. Oh my god, thank you, chat. I had no idea you could do this. Because look, like Lando's made the move. Like there's a significant gap there. This is making this analysis a lot easier. And yeah, he just kind of just turns. If anything, Carlos is also angling his car a little bit to the left, but Lando just swoops right in and bonk connection. So for me that's on Lando. It's a shame. Obviously, you get a lot of these wheel-to-wheel bangs and nothing really happens. But it's just enough to spoil Lando's race, unfortunately for him. Because yeah, you look at the momentum. You look where Perez is here. Obviously, Leclerc was behind Perez into that first corner and stayed behind. Like Lando had a good chance of swooping it around the outside and maybe coming out of that corner in P3. I'm feeling anxiety for your channel. It's just a live stream. I'll just take down the live stream if FIM really do shit themselves. You know what I mean? And also, I've kept it potato quality. Is it? Yeah. I'm gonna keep it nice and potato quality, just to make sure. Right. Okay. That's the first incident. Oh, why is this here? That was weird. Why is that there? There we go. That was so weird. Wait, so that's still there? Yeah, there we go. Cool. Okay. This new knowledge, it will make my talks more immersive, I agree. Okay, so first one done, and Lando has 76% of the vote. Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, I think that's fair. So I'm going to end that poll. Right, incident number 2. Actually, you know what? I'm really sorry, everyone, but I need a wee. So what's that? Wait. What is that desktop audio coming through? Oh yeah, no, it's just the music. Sorry, I need a wee, so I'll be right back. The P stop is done. We're back. Right. Yes, I did wash my hands, Daniel. Thank you. I mean, the it's literally there. The toilet's there. Okay. Right. Okay. Cool. Next question. Tsunoda versus Stroll. Who was more at fault? Tsunoda or Stroll? Ask your community. You have been asked a question, chat. Please consider your thoughts. We will analyse the Tsunoda Stroll incident. And yeah. For me, this is easy. This is easy peasy, squeezy lemons, mate. This is. Yeah, I'm gonna bump up the. Okay. For me, this is simple, mate. This is light work. Job done. Oh, we got 69. Wait, 69. That's a funny number. 69% say Yuki Tsunoda's at fault. 31% say Lance Stroll's at fault. I mean, let's look at it. Let's have a butcher's hook at it, right? Okay, screen share, Bosch. Okay. Mr. Yuki Tsunoda is on screen. Hang on, can I do the frame thing? Oh, go back. No. Right. Frame by frame. So, Yuki's a fair distance back, right? He's a fair distance back going into turn one, okay? And again, look, turn one is a corner where, you know, we saw, was it Sainz on Perez in 2019? In fact, should we look at, I know it's going backwards, don't worry, I'll get there. FOM lawyer on the phone. Look, it's a live, if I've got to delete the live stream, right? I'm just showing stills, okay? Stills. That's my protection. Now, Yuki's a long way back, okay? But gets on the brakes, up the inside. Stroll's just taking the normal line through this corner, right? But Yuki's gone and sent it up the inside, right? And you keep going through, okay? And Stroll's still giving Yuki plenty of space here. Plenty of space, okay? Plenty of space still. But Yuki's getting alongside here is what? By this stage, it's hard to say because of the distance, but let's see when they get a bit closer together. So Yuki's still all four wheels on the track, on the rumble strip, right? How far alongside would we say Yuki is here? How far alongside would we say? I'd say at least 2/3. I'd say maybe 70% alongside. 70 to 80. He's definitely more than halfway. Look at right. Let's just carry on, right? Because the relative gap doesn't really change here, right? So, because the contact actually is Stroll on his front wing / like the contact is. It's hard to tell exactly. I'd say Gab, like you said, I'd say that's significantly alongside. Yuki has 2 wheels on the rumble strip, 2 wheels on the track. Yuki is within track limits here. When you're this far alongside, to me, this was just, to me, it's Stroll didn't look and just turned in like the corner's a normal corner. And Yuki sent it, but you know what? Yuki's made the corner. Like where, like he's slowed down. Their relative speed. Look at their relative speed. It's pretty much the same. He's slowed down enough. He's made the corner. And Stroll just turns into him. For me, I cannot comprehend that Yuki got punished for this, let alone a 10-second penalty. Are you mad? I'm sorry. I don't care who's never ahead. You don't need to be ahead to be entitled to space, do you? We had this discussion in Austria. Perez, Norris, Perez, Leclerc. You don't need to be ahead to be entitled to space. You need to be at least, as far as I'm aware, as far as I'm concerned, at least, what, 60% of the way alongside? How can you say he didn't make the corner? How has he not made this corner? Look at their relative speed. I'm going frame by frame. Their relative speed at this stage of the corner is pretty much identical. There's no difference. Yuki's made the corner clearly made the corner. Clearly. Stroll's just not looked. Stroll's literally just taken the corner, just like any other lap. I'm sorry, I cannot understand how this is a Tsunoda penalty. I can't understand. Just take the names away. How has this car got a penalty? Yes, it's a late move, but it's a good move. And he's got more than 50%. He's got 60-70% the way alongside. Their relative speed is the same. You can't say, at what stage is Yuki gone into the side of Stroll here? Stroll's turned into him. I just, for me, it's clear as day. Yuki's on the track. He's at least 70% alongside. At least. Honestly, looking at this, when you consider the whole length of a Formula One car, I think that's more 80%. More 80% alongside. So, and he's within track limits. He's got two wheels on the rumble strip, but again, he's look at the amount of steering lock he's putting in now, because he knows Stroll's about to turn into him. So, for me, I can't. For me, it's on Stroll. I don't even think it's a racing incident. I just think Stroll wasn't looking. I completely agree with what Yuki said. Right, so play this incident again, right, and say Yuki is like 20-30% alongside, right? Say he's 20-30% alongside. I would completely agree. Okay, so he's gone for a late move. Stroll's take the corner normally, and they've collected, right? If it was 20-30% alongside, I'd agree. But it's not. It's clearly not. Look. If Stroll sees Yuki, right, Stroll can take a, because if the car's like this far alongside, you can't just take the corner as if it's as if it's just a normal corner. Like, you can't. I'm sorry. I don't agree with it. I do not agree with it. But anyway, right. Now that we've looked at it, I want to see if has my analysis changed anyone's minds. I've put the poll out again. It was 69% Tsunoda before we started looking at it, and I want to see what. It's not an agenda. I don't care about the drivers' names. I'm looking at the incident. If a car's that far alongside, then they're entitled to space. That's my view. That's the way I see it. Thank you, Jeff Cock, for another $5, mate. 10 seconds is a disgrace considering what Hamilton got at Silverstone. For far worse, lack of pen for Verstappen as well. Stewards are a joke this year. I mean, the stewards change every race, which I don't think helps consistency, you know. Thank you, S. Fleetly, again for another $5, mate. Appreciate it. Now you show me it like this. I now agree, Tommo. Just like Hamilton at Silverstone was side by side, but with Max by the time he reached the corner. Yeah, I mean, look. For me, it's there we go. So I'd say we've not convinced everyone, but I think I'm quite reasonable in my analysis. Okay. Oh, LFC letter. Did I miss your donation? I apologise, mate. Let me find it. I have to go into my creator thing whenever I miss one. I apologise, mate. Okay, so Lando at fault for the first one. Stroll at fault for the second. Okay. Hang on. What's my Yes, thank you, LFC letters, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you for the tenner. So I was in the Tsunoda analysis zone. Hypothetically, if that is Mercedes pace with a fresh ice, could they potentially take a new ice every race coming up? I did hear someone making that suggestion. Easily make up 5 place penalty with the pace advantage if it was all down to the ice. But then, could we just be in this ridiculous situation where just every single race, Verstappen and Lewis are taking new engines? Like, I feel like that isn't. I don't know. Surely that's not allowed, but I don't know. Maybe not. Thank you, Mr. EC Football, as well, for the 199. Have you heard Audi have brought... Well, reported. We don't know yet. Yeah, thank you, mate. But yeah, LFC, I know what you mean. It sounds like quite a compelling argument, especially the fact that, Saudi's looking like a very quick track. Qatar's looking a bit of a Bahrain, which I think, will ultimately, all the final 3 all have significant straights. So I mean, I'm sure a new Honda Ice would help, but maybe not to the extent of a Mercedes one. I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. You'd hope that it doesn't come down to that, because that would be there'd be such a damp squib of an end to the season where just every single race they're both taking new engines. It's like, really? So I hope it doesn't come to that. But anyway, right, okay. So about 60. Okay, so okay, right. Shall we now look at the incident? Shall we now? The incident. Penalty or not? Penalty. No penalty. The question has been asked. Get in the poll, people. Get in the poll. Get in the poll. Thank you, Ishan, for the 100 rupees, mate. Sounds like a banging idea, but A, it's not just a new ice. They've also maxed out its performance. B, I don't think it will fit into their cost caps. Cost caps, very good point, Ishan. Very good point. Very good point. Scotty Mansell, drivers. Scott, have you put your video out analysing it yet? Oh, I love your videos where you analyse the most. Oh, Scott as well. What did you make of the Stroll Tsunoda one? I think it's easy not Tsunoda's fault, because he's like 80% alongside. Yes. Right, go and watch Driver 61 after this one, everyone. Okay, so we've got 61% saying penalty, 39% saying no penalty. And before everyone starts, oh, my favourite driver, blah, blah, blah. Let's take the names of the drivers away. Let's take the liveries off the cars and just look at the cars in isolation and analyse, shall we? Okay. We're not talking about Stroll Tsunoda anymore, by the way. But yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Right, let's get the... what am I going to do here? What I'm going to do is get the... let's get the... Because F1 kindly cut together a little supercut of their shenanigans. Right. Okay, we're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at this, don't you worry. Right. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Hang on. Right, this needs to be... why is it doing that? Hang on. Oh, it's because of it. Okay, I know why. I'm just stupid. Ignore me. Right, there we go. Look, live streams aren't easy to be seamless with, okay? It can be a challenge. Okay, here we go. You can see all my reckon. Bit of Tom Scott. Big up Tom Scott. And this song is Silk Sonic. Such a good Smoking Out the Window. Absolute banging tune. Right. Okay. Thank you, Sushi, for the 5 R's. I think Max was quite dirty there, but didn't deserve a penalty. Interesting. Because I've seen like a lot of like black and white flag. Should it have been black and white flag? Blah, 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 all this. Okay. Again, to me, this is easy. To me, this is simple, right? Oh, they're playing the old... right, frame by frame. So this, I mean, this isn't the best angle to look at it at, right? So you got obviously like Lewis is ahead into the braking zone. Max obviously brakes slightly later than Lewis. It's all about letting them race. That old chestnut. And yeah, I mean, we're not really seeing much from that angle. Let's look at it. There we go. This is the one. This is the one. Yeah, we don't, because again, we don't have Max's on board, but as far as I'm concerned, sorry, I don't want to miss any. Thank you, Nikita, again for another £5, mate. Very, very kind. We can take the names out, but let's not take out the fact that they're both championship contenders. There should be some degree of harsh racing. Look, for me, I don't agree. Like, if it's, say, again, and I like to make football analogies a lot, right? Say it's the final game of the season, okay? And you've got West Ham and Chelsea fighting for a Premier League title, okay? Let me dream. And it's the final game and they're against each other. Whoever wins the title, okay? And then someone 5 minutes in flies in, studs up, fouls someone. If it's a red card challenge, I don't care if it's the final game of the season against the two. If it's a red card, it's a red card. So I don't, because I think as soon as you start being like, well, it's the two main protagonists, like the rules are the rules, and I feel like they should be applied evenly, whether you're at the front of the field, the back of the field, the middle of the field, whether it's the first race of the season or the last race. Because then that leads to incidents. Look, everyone, when I did my video swapping the drivers around, you know, when Charles pushed Lewis off at Monza, like, it was a penalty, but they didn't give a penalty because it was Monza and it was Charles and it was Ferrari. It was like you watch it afterwards, you swap the drive, and everyone's like, yeah, of course it was a penalty. But because of the context, they didn't give a penalty. And I understand why, but I don't agree with it. You know what I mean? I think as soon as you start messing around with like enforcing the rules, you just open up a big can of worms. You know what I mean? That's my thought on it. Thank you, Charles, for the 449 as well. Does Max go way off because he sees Lewis doesn't want to lose time? The thing is, Max brakes later than Lewis. We'll go for it. We'll go through it. Thank you, Barat, as well, for another 100 rupees. Max admitted he didn't turn enough because he was defending, and Red Bull's defence about letting them race ridiculous. It was fun, though. Love Minton. I love Minton, too. Minton is great. Minton's in the other room, sleeping. Jeff got, for me, if Max won the race, and then yeah, it would be BS that he didn't get at least a 5-sec penalty, but as Hamilton won anyways, what's the problem? Well, I mean, that's why Lewis wasn't that bothered about discussing it afterwards, because he still won the race. But it doesn't mean that it's not, you know, again, the FIA is setting precedents here, setting standards, and, you know, just because Lewis still won the race doesn't mean that the incident should be scrutinised or dealt with any differently, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, Ishan, for the 100 rupees as well. That yeah boy was golden from you, by the way. Could have done that for a lot longer. If you haven't seen Backseat Driver, then go and watch it on Veloce afterwards. Right. So. Right. So again, we can all agree that Max broke later than Lewis. So Lewis got ahead, but Max broke later. Again, their relative position. You can see like front wing. I'm analysing this like I know what I'm talking. I know I'm not a racing driver, right? But I feel like I feel like I've got a good enough understanding of motorsport, having followed it my whole life. I'm glad you're enjoying the background music. Yasser, mate. Very glad. Isham, why? Oh God, is it official? Oh, okay, hang on. We're gonna have to pause, everyone. We're gonna have to pause, okay? We're gonna have to pause because apparently it's now official that McLaren have been bought by Audi. Unless you're just trolling. Oh, okay, here we go. It's an actual statement. Give that a retweet. Boom. Right, we're gonna read it together, everyone. Okay. Oh. Opposite. What they've done a what McLaren have done is they've seen Otmar Safnauer's Otmar Safnauer's statement, and they were like, we like that. We like the way Otmar did it, and they've that's good. Ben is straight. Jonathan, if you're having to think about that, then I'm sorry. I can't help you, mate. If you're having to think about who to choose between me and Ben, come on. McLaren Group is aware of a news media report stating it's been sold to Audi. This is wholly inaccurate. And McLaren is seeking to have the story removed. McLaren's technology strategy has always involved ongoing discussions and collaboration with relevant partners and suppliers, including other car makers. However, there has been no change in the ownership structure of the McLaren Group. There you go. So it's not been sold. What is the quote that Otmar made in his thing? Hang on. I want to find the Otmar. In Otmar's statement, what was it? It was speculative conjecture. That's good. That's good. That's good. I just needed to tweet. Do a little retweet. All right, okay. Back to the incident, everyone. All right. Where do these dodgy rumours come from? It's always been a thing, right? So, again, let's look at these cars. So so this car, the car with the yellow nose, okay, not the Red Bull, the car with the yellow nose is Antonio Giovinazzi, and the car on the left with the teal hits on the front wing is Esteban Ocon, okay? Fighting for P13, okay? To me, the incident should be looked at identically, whether it's the front two battling, okay? Because rules are rules, okay? So this is Antonio Giovinazzi, and this is Esteban Ocon, okay? Just in case you weren't sure. Yellow nose, exactly. Thank you, Cheverica, for the 70s, by the way. Easy pen. They only give pens when someone gets hurt. Stewards don't like making decisions that affect the race. They don't like. I agree that they don't like making decisions that are going to affect the winner of the race, which I understand. They're to blame when someone gets injured. Let them race, but be consistent. Yeah. The problem is you don't have the same stewards for every race, so there's so much nuance. You know what I mean? The fact that none of us can agree on this. Thank you, Junior, as well. It should be a pen, but without it, there's a good race. So it's more of a problem with the rules. Besides, can we have our Declan back to the... No, you can't. No, you can't, Jin. No, you can't. He's ours. Okay? Right. So... Right, there we go. There we go. Right, so... Max, again, look at relative to the front wings. Max did definitely brake later. He's carrying more speed than Lewis here. Lewis is turning the apex. Look, remember when we talked about Silverstone? For me, Lewis was more at fault for Silverstone for sure. He didn't hit the apex of the corner. And, you know, if he had, I don't think there would have been contact. Lewis is ahead going into the corner. Max has broken later to bring himself back in line. You can see Lewis, how Lewis turns in relative to Max here, right? Max is pretty much almost going straight here. Lewis is definitely turning more in here. And see that gap, that gap between the two cars is getting smaller. And Lewis is the one who's closing that gap, right? Because he's turning into the corner. Max, pretty much here, has gone in a straight line. Pretty much. Lewis is still turning, and then, I mean, the camera moves, which doesn't really help. But then Lewis has to, because again, Max's relative direction here, I mean, it's pretty much down. You know what I mean? And Lewis again, Lewis is turning in more. Lewis is going, remember, Max broke later, so Lewis is going slower than Max, and he's turning in more. Now, I know a lot of people have said, oh, Lewis wouldn't have made the corner. I don't agree. I think Lewis, if Max isn't there, right, let's just ignore, if Giovinazzi isn't there, if Giovinazzi isn't there, and it's just Ocon, okay, then I think Lewis is making that corner because he's going slower than Max. He's going slower than Giovinazzi. Okay, I'm just going to stop with that. And he is turning in, and then has to. You can see on his wheel, Lewis is turning in, and then has to like straighten to then. And obviously they are. I mean, I'm analysing frame by frame here, right? No, not Geo slander. I'm just trying to analyse this, taking the names away because it just makes it way too polarising, right? I just want to analyse the incident. Okay, so then Lewis has to, I mean, they're very, very close to touching here. Like, Lewis's front wheel's almost in between Max's front and rear. And again, Max's relative direction, you know, he's got it more turned in now, but then Lewis has had to kind of get out of it a bit, straighten up his car so that they don't connect. And ultimately we let it run on, and obviously that's washed Lewis out wide. Lewis is still kind of front wheel alongside Max's just, and then obviously Max has carried more speed into the corner. Lewis has obviously gotten out of it to stop him connecting. Now, up to this stage, right? For me, up until this stage, I think it's one of them where it's like, okay, it's still, for me, up until this stage, it's still, you know, when you consider how alongside, you know, we talked about this with Stroll and Tsunoda, right? I mean, Lewis is ahead going into the corner, but then obviously Max brakes late. But at all stages, Lewis is more than 50% alongside. So I think when you've got a car that's more than 50% alongside, like you should respect and give space to each other. You know what I mean? But for me, the thing that just makes this an absolute no-brainer, 100% penalty for Max, is because he doesn't even make the corner. So it's like, if Max stays on track and Lewis goes out wide, and it's one of them where it's like, oh, okay, well, did he push him off? Did Lewis really have enough space? Blah, blah, blah. You can make that argument. Look at how far Max has to go off track. Like Max going this far off track, like it's clearly a penalty. Like, I don't understand how it can't be a penalty. Like, when it's gone so far off track. Look, how many car widths could you could fit 2.5, 3 Red Bulls in the gap between Max's left tyre and the white line, which is the track limit. Let's remember that as well. Like, I'm sorry. Let's see, Toto knows. Thank you for the 100 rupees, Toto. It's your currency of choice. My name is... Matt's got a 5-second penalty. He would have finished third. His lead would have been 11 points. Big fan, by the way. Well, I mean, if he got a 5-second penalty, I think he would have driven quicker and still finished second. So I don't know if that's true, but thank you, Tommo. I appreciate it. I mean, look, for me, it's like Max doesn't even make the corner. Like, how is it not a penalty? I don't understand how it cannot. He doesn't make the apex. Like, we talked about this with, you know, the fact that there's no, and I know people will use contact as like there wasn't contact. The only reason there was, like, again, if Lewis carries on his line, if Max carries going on straight, like, they're going to come together. Like, Lewis has to get out of it. Like, Max doesn't make the apex, which is, again, Lewis didn't make the apex in Silverstone either, and they connected, and I think Lewis was more at fault for Silverstone. Especially because Lewis was behind Max as well at the point. Now, here, Lewis is more than alongside enough, right? You can't be, look at this, you can't be telling me at any stage, like, Lewis, because Lewis is ahead going into the corner, right? Going through the corner, he stays what? Up until they come close, up until like this stage where Lewis has to get out of it, he's as alongside as Yuki was on Stroll. I'm talking like 70, maybe even 80% alongside, okay? Look at it, it's just clear, okay? It's so clear to me. And then obviously where he has to get out of it, obviously Max is carrying more speed going through, but Max doesn't even make the corner. It's like Max, if Max can't even make the corner, then he's clearly carrying too much speed. And he's used that speed to stop Hamilton from retaining the advantage he had going into the braking zone, and Max hasn't lost position. Now, for me, it's slam dunk. It's easy. For me, I can't comprehend. Like, the only counter argument I've heard is that, well, it's just racing. It's hard racing. That's not hard racing, mate. If you want to watch hard racing, go and watch George Russell versus Fernando Alonso, Austria this year. Great, wheel to wheel, always giving each other enough space, and that battle carried on lap after lap after lap. Austria, when Perez Norris and Perez Leclerc on the gravel, that wasn't hard race. Is that what you want? Well, just every time two cars come together, you just push the other one off, and then the other one, well, again, good thing there wasn't any gravel here, because otherwise they're both in the gravel. Like, I'm sorry, it's dumb. It's dumb. And again, like in this instance, the only reason they don't crash is because Lewis gets out of it. You look at this trajectory here, right? This trajectory, they're coming together. They're getting closer and closer and closer. But Max can't get out of it because he's understeered. He's not made the apex of the corner. He's either understeered or he's purposefully not made the apex of the corner to try and push Lewis wide. And that's just how it plays out. So for me, it's slam dunk. It's just easy. I don't. For me, it was immediately clear, both of them personally. But yeah, that's just the way my mind works. Okay, that's my perception of it. What I do want to do though, because hang on, let me just. Right, well, we're not going to do that anymore. We've analysed enough already. We need to talk about everyone else. Okay. I'm gonna ignore that British bias comment. Okay. If you honestly think this has anything to do with one of the drivers being British, you're not thinking about what you're saying. You know what I mean? You're just saying stuff. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do the poll again. So the initial poll, yeah, had like 60% penalty. No penalty or penalty. See if I've changed anyone's minds. Thank you, Young Sandwich, and thank you, Jonathan, for becoming friends of Tommo, by the way. Appreciate it. Very kind. Very, very kind of you. I don't think I've missed any other super chats. Thank you, Barat, as well, for the 100 rupees. For once, things were in Lewis's favour, and you changed the name to Ocon. Also, if this, what? I don't understand your super chat, Barrett. For once, things were in Lewis's favour, and you changed the name to Ocon. Also, if this race was a 7.5, then I hate Albon. What? I don't understand what you mean. Okay. So the penalty percentage has jumped up by about 10%. So less of a swing, but yeah, I mean, I think, and look, ultimately, it was annoying because I was like, that's definitely a penalty, but I don't want it to come down to Max just having to let Lewis pass or Max getting a 5-second time penalty. So it's like, I'm glad that the move was done on track in the end. Of course I am. I don't want to see but then you have to have rules and you have to enforce them. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Like, what do we have? You know, it's just, just make it up as you go along. Thank you, Chavarika, by the way, for the 14 ZAR. Kyle Army GP over third GP in USA. I would prefer to see Kyle Army over a third US Grand Prix, but I think a third US Grand Prix is inevitable, and I don't think it's a bad thing. The US is such a huge country; it's basically a continent, like on its own. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much diversity, there's so many people in the US that I think having, you know, you got a Texan Grand Prix, you got the Florida, you got like a West Coast one maybe, or like a New York one, Watkins Glen would be good. Thank you, Saracen, as well, for joining Friends of Tommo. And thank you, Mr. Super Chacho, for the $5. In before someone accuses of British bias. Oh, that ship's already sailed, mate. There's nothing I can do to defend. You can't get around. I'm sorry, but 7.5 is not a bad score. It's a good score. You know? It's a good score. But yeah. Oh, and I'd love to see a race in India again, definitely. I think there'd be a lot more appetite for it now as well than there was. You look at how F1's grown in the US. I think that's true all over the world. Thank you, Sugin, as well, for the 790 MYR. Never seen that currency before. That's cool. Okay, right. We've talked about the dramatic bits. We're going to move on, okay? I'm over an hour in, and we still haven't really talked about anything else yet. Also, thank you, Adam, for the 449. Hot take: Max relies on erratic and overly aggressive driving to force others to back off, as he knows he's weaker than some drivers in clean racing. I don't. You know what? Like, I feel like 2019 Max and Charles Silverstone was great. Was so good, and like, you know, I feel like there was that mutual respect was there. And Charles gave as good as Max, and it was a quality battle. You know what I'm saying? It was so good, so good. But also, yeah, I mean, a lot of the greats over the years. Some drivers are more aggressive than others. I think Lewis has always found in his career a way to kind of walk the line for most of it. He's made some poor moves. He's made some fantastic moves, but I think over a course of a career, you know, you kind of, you know what drivers drive in a certain way, and you kind of adapt around it, you know. But thank you, Toto, for another 40 rupees, mate. I'm not British and I agree with you. There you go. There you go. All right, cool. So let's go back to the results. So Hamilton won, fantastic drive. Max P2, damage limitation, ultimately. Which is mad to think going into the sprint race. Lewis started P last. Bottas started on pole, didn't get a great start, and then also got. I'm just trying to, because I keep getting the sprint race mixed up with the. Yeah, because Bottas got jumped by Perez, didn't he? Yeah, because they were running 1-2. They did it running 1-2, didn't they? Thank you, S. Fleetley, for another 5, mate. Appreciate it. Exactly. He did it to either keep the lead or take Lewis out. That effectively guarantees him the title. Just does this because they don't punish him enough. Look, I mean, it was one of them where it deserved the penalty. It didn't get one, but you know what I mean. I don't think the whole let them rate like hard racing. That's not hard racing, just pushing someone off the track, you know what I mean? It just isn't. Thank you, Nikolai, as well, for the 2 BGNs. Mafia until Lewis gets a penalty. I'm sorry. I don't. But I just think bad stewarding calls does not mean there is an inherent bias because the stewards are different every race. Maybe that's why they're different every race, because they want to try and dispel that. But obviously, you know, thank you again, Sugi, for the 1990. Who do you think will win the title? We'll get into that. Don't you worry. We'll get into that. But yeah, Bottas third, did benefit from the safety car, the VSC, big time, which was obviously, you know, good for him, not good for Perez. Would have been interesting. I want to see a Perez Bottas proper scrap. We haven't really seen one all year, have we? Would have been good. And then, yeah, Perez, again, very good race pace. Qualifying was good at... I swear the quality gap between Max and Sergio was pretty small this weekend. So I swear it was only like a 10th. But yeah, race pace very good from Perez. Unfortunate with the safety car. Otherwise, it was a pretty good... Yeah, it was only like... I'm sure it was only a 10th. Yeah. It was like 0.101 seconds, I think it was. Obviously, it's a short lap, Sao Paulo. But yeah, it was very good quality for Perez. And yeah, the race just unfortunate for him. VSC helped out Bottas. Leclerc Sainz, another P5. I think that's the second P5-6 in a row for Ferrari. Am I right in saying that? I might be wrong. Didn't they get 5 and 6 in Mexico as well? Either way, very good. Audi's not buying McLaren. It's fake news, by the way. Great drives from both, really. Not really much to say. Yeah, they got 5 and 6 last week. Oh, was it Gasly P5 last week? Oh, was it 6 and 7 in Mexico? Okay, that makes sense. But either way, consistent. And that's exactly what McLaren haven't been. So P3 is done and dusted, isn't it? That's signed, sealed, delivered for Ferrari now. And you know what? Like over the course of the season, they've been the more consistent team. So fair play. And again, I think their driver combination is top dollar. I think they could, like, Ferrari give them to a good competitive car next year. I do honestly think they could win it. Arvin, thank you for the 125. Leclerc is overlooked, having Sainz as his teammate forced him to be more consistent. He's 3 points behind Norris, who has been underperforming since Sochi. I don't think Lando's been underperforming. I think he did underperform at Kota, but all in all, like he came from the back at Mexico to P10, and then he got caught up in an incident which was slightly more his fault, granted, but still to come back to P10, that's pretty solid drive, you know what I mean? But yeah, good day for the Ferrari boys. Gasly, P7, gotta be happy with that, really. Another fantastic qualifying from Pierre once again. Man's just doing what he does. Was it 14 out of 19 races he's qualified in the top 6? Very, very good. Very good. Yeah. Good day for Gasly. Made a nice move on Lando, on fresher tyres. Can't remember much more than of Gasly's race than that. Gasly was bad. Why was Gasly bad? I mean, again, I think, like, given the tools at his fingertips, I think he's delivering the maximum, you know. Gasly Ocon battle, they did have a nice little scrap, didn't they? Ocon P8, Alonso P9. Ocon definitely had Fernando, it's not so much Ocon jumped Alonso in the sprint, it was more that because Alonso out-qualified Ocon, but then Alonso seemed to fall back because he fell back behind Vettel, I think, as well. Gasly's in P6, so it's not a bad race because he went from P6 to 7, is it? He was still really good. It's not bad. It's just, you know, it's like when he starts, you know, as high as he does, it's often I think it's a bit of a miracle that he holds on, to be honest. But again, it all comes down to how much you rate that AlphaTauri car. But yeah, Alpine, good day, all things considered. I mean, they've kept that. It's you know, Gasly scored 6 points, and then Ocon and Alonso between them scored 6 points as well. So yeah, I think a good day all told. Ocon just, yeah, Alonso, Ocon had kind of slightly different strategies. Actually, no, they did, because so Ocon let Alonso through to try and get Gasly because Alonso had fresher rubber, I believe, but he couldn't get the move done, so they swapped back around. So Ocon gets P8, Alonso P9. Norris, very good drive considering what happened on the first lap and that he came through. Obviously helped massively by the safety car and the VSC, which gave him a chance to catch up on the back, because otherwise his race would have been long gone. Vettel was super unfortunate, I think, wasn't he? Didn't he lose out in the pits and strategy-wise? Because I think Vettel was running like P7 at one stage. He was running like best of the not, you know, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari. So yeah, 5 second pit stop. Yeah, I think Seb actually had a decent race, but just kind of things outside of his control meant that he ended up P11. So, but yeah, Seb's definitely, you can feel like these last few races, Seb's definitely been able to pull out a consistent performance level that's been higher than Stroll's, and yeah, it's looking promising, I think, for next year. You know, I think again, if Aston Martin can give Seb a good car, then I feel like I've seen enough that, you know, the talent we've seen from Seb in the past he's still there. I just think the confidence, the right environment, that all needs to be on point, which it does for all drivers. But I think Seb has been, I think it's one of them where, he had a very bad time at Ferrari. His Red Bull exit wasn't great either. But I feel like, and yes, my camera is mirrored. I think Aston's a good fit for Seb. You know what I mean? I think it's a good fit for Seb. Raikkonen up to P12, again outperforming his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi in the race. Kimi's only got 3 races left in F1. It's a pretty good, it's an okay result. You know what I mean? It's not points, but Alfa Romeo need points if they want to beat Williams. P13 Russell didn't have a good, got beaten by Latifi fair and square in qualifying. Q1, Q2, Q3 qualifying anyway. And then Latifi also finished ahead of him in the sprint race. But I don't know what happened to Latifi. I think he was a bit upset on the strategy. And yeah. Considering Williams seemed to have no pace, for him to finish ahead of Giovinazzi. I know he finished ahead of Tsunoda as well, but obviously Yuki had his 10-second penalty and didn't have a front wing for most of a lap as well. So, but yeah, all right for George. Giovinazzi, again, it's coming, innit? You feel like the news is coming. The Guan Yu Zhou replacement news feels like it's on the cusp. And yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Gio's done enough to justify his continued seat, unfortunately. Yeah, Latifi's engineer had to pop at him on the radio for that. Don't moan on the radio, because then the whole world will hear it. I mean, we know Piastri deserves a seat, but it doesn't sound like it's going to happen, does it? Tsunoda, P15, not a great quali. It's 12th, went out in Q2. In the race, obviously got tangled with Stroll. We've already discussed that. I think that was Stroll's fault. And P15, 10-second penalty as well. So, bit of a shame for Yuki, but I do think his performance level is definitely, I've seen an improvement, you know what I mean? Don't think the world cares about Latifi's race. Yeah, Latifi, yeah, again, I don't really know what happened to Nicholas. Mazepin, you know what? Mazepin actually outperformed Schumacher this weekend. You saw after qualifying, he was a bit upset because he felt like he had a lap in him that would have beaten Mick. Which, Mazepin has, the only times a Mazepin's beaten Schumacher in qualifying is when Schumacher hasn't made qualifying because he's crashed. He's never actually beaten him on time in qualifying in Q1, Q2, Q3. And it was a good opportunity because, to be fair, considering Mazepin never driven there, Mazepin, Latifi, I don't think had ever driven at Sao Paulo because it wasn't on the grid last year. Tsunoda, I don't think he had either. No, he made a decent move on Schumacher as well, actually, into turn 1, up the inside, and stayed ahead. So, credit where credit's due. Nikita Mazepin, well done. Schumacher, yeah, just finished behind his teammate, so not great for Mick. To be fair, Mick did crash with. I actually forgot about that. I forgot Mick and Raikkonen came together, didn't they? And did Mick have to get a new front wing? Yeah, the overtake was before the crash, I think. I don't know. I'm still giving this one to Mazepin, okay? And then Ricciardo, just all of a sudden, we're just watching, and all of a sudden, Ricciardo sat in the pits, and it was the same with Stroll. We didn't see them drive in or anything. His wing was stuck under the car, wasn't it? That must have destroyed his... Yeah, to be fair, that must have destroyed... Yeah, because I remember that going round and just don't fall off front wing, sorry. I was like, mate, I hope that doesn't go under the car, and I hope that it doesn't destroy the floor, but it must have done, because that floor was getting ruined. So I'm still gonna look. Okay. Qualifying was okay. I'm still okay. Maybe it wasn't as convincingly Mazepin as I initially thought. His wing was proudly showing your outlet. Yeah, it's good brand exposure, to be fair. Ricciardo, Stroll both retired. Obviously, Stroll from damage with the Yuki incident. Ricciardo, I think he had a crack in his chassis. The Schumacher Raikkonen incident. I do remember it. Who was more at fault? I remember at the time just being like, it's just one of them. I think Mick did light up the rears a bit and kicked a little bit of oversteer. Oh, I thought it was I saw a headline for an article saying it was a chassis crack. I know he said he lost power, but Ricciardo was the cause of lost power. Savage. I feel like Mick had a little bit of a bum hanging out moment and just kind of drifted into Raikkonen. So I don't know, but yeah. And the other two, they didn't finish. So there we go. We're done. That's it. Did I hear Latifi's engineer? Yes. For Qatar, I mean, that Mercedes pace is looking pretty ominous, but obviously that's a fresh ice. Max was saying this afterwards. He's obviously hoping that the pace of that new engine in Mercedes will gradually come down. One stop or two stop? I mean, two stop. It was too hot. It was like boiling in Sao Paulo. Pignon Gasly, different gravy. I think Hamilton will probably win. Yeah, I think Hamilton will win Qatar. I mean, it's still in Lewis's hands. If Lewis wins all the final races, then he wins the championship. So it ain't over. It ain't over. Aston Martin, bad luck. I mean, again, the new regulations hurt the low rake, long wheelbase cars more. So, Mercedes were clear last year. That W11 was probably the best Formula One car of all time. And it wasn't really close last year. Only between teammates, and even then it wasn't that close. And obviously Mercedes fell back, and Aston probably fell back the same amount, but obviously they were their Force India wasn't as clear as the Mercedes was to the rest of the midfield, so it was always going to be a difficult season for the Aston Martin, wasn't it? But again, I think next year, Aston, Force India, they've got good people at that team, so McLaren to win in Qatar, long fast corners. Well, that's the thing, because it is a motorbike racing track, isn't it? So MotoGP races there a lot, so don't know. Someone shared the Jeddah track and even the facilities is 98% done. Wow, I'm impressed. Because it didn't look that way. I've already talked about Max and Lewis Parner. You're gonna have to go back once this, or you can live rewind. That's the beauty with YouTube. You can't do that on Twitch. Scott, thoughts on Bottas wanting to stay out? I mean, would it have made the difference? Because Bottas said he was like, we threw away a 1-2 here. I don't know. Again, I think it's easy to say in hindsight, but I just don't think Bottas had the pace. Even if he'd have got ahead of Max, I think Max would have got past him. It's not like Lewis and like Valtteri were setting the same lap times as Lewis. Lewis was on just a different level. Right, you know what? I'm done. Everyone, thank you all for coming. Go and watch Driver 61's video now. That's exactly what I'm going to do as soon as I finish this, Scott. I want to hear your, as an actual racing driver with actual wheel knowledge, unlike me, who just thinks he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, because I know Bottas was slowly closing the gap on Verstappen, but not at anywhere near enough pace. And again, did Max really need to push at the end? Like, was he needing to do 100% lap times? No. Whereas he was to keep Lewis behind, and Lewis was to try and get past Max. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, everyone. I'll go grab Minton for all the real ones who stayed till the end. You will get some Minton content. I just need to find out where he is. I think he's in the living room under the sheets. Oh, my back. Ow. Minton. Hello, boy. Oh, you sleepy boy, huh? Here he is. Been a kip, haven't you? As always. Oh, that's a yawn, mate. That is a big yawn. I put you here so you're in focus, because the camera won't focus on his face. The real ones stay for a minute. Exactly. Hey. Why are you so sleepy all the time? He literally sleeps. I reckon he sleeps 18 hours a day. I reckon. Don't you, mate? Because when he's not running around and he's napping, like, he's not playing, he's napping, ain't you? Why am I here? Look, his eyes are closing, bless him. Right, should I put the cushion on there so you can sit on my seat? Right, there we go. Thank you everyone for coming again. Be good, be nice, stay hydrated. Don't get in arguments on Twitter around the Max Lewis incident, okay? It's not worth it. And we will see each other again very soon. Hopefully video upload Wednesday. That's the plan. Big up Sweetest, who's up at 2:25 in the morning in New Zealand. I respect that, mate. Go to bed. Yeah, cheers everyone. And be good, be nice. Ciao, adios, I'm done.